In this video, I'm going to show you how to use your domain name to connect it to your web hosting package and set up WordPress so you can start building your website. Hey guys, Alex here from Brilliant Digital. Welcome back to another video. This is actually the last part of a video series I'm creating where I'm teaching you how to buy a domain name, purchase a web hosting package, set up some business email addresses, and install WordPress, which is our topic for this video. Hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified when we release more videos just like this ones. If you haven't seen the first 3 videos, I'll leave a link in the description below. So let's jump into our tutorial for today. Right, so we have a domain name, we have a web hosting package, but before we can actually use them, we need to connect them together. It's the same principle with the emails in our previous videos. In order to actually use an email account using G Suite with this current domain, we have to do some DNS settings. So through those settings, we're letting the domain know what to do, who to put in charge of the emails, and that was G Suite in that case. The same principle applies for the web hosting. If someone types brilliantvideos.productions in their browser, we need to let Namecheap, our domain, know that it should direct all the traffic to our newly purchased web hosting package. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Before we can start installing WordPress, we need to create this connection. Now, this connection can actually be done in 2 different ways. So I'm going to walk you through both options and also explain you the pros and cons. Option number 1 is to connect the domain through name servers. So name servers is something that is provided from the hosting side. In our case, that's Guru, or again, based on our previous tutorial, if you went for the first options, which is Siteground, in your actual admin panel, you will see the name servers there. So for us, the name servers, normally they come in package of at least 2, sometimes they might be 3. So in this case is ns1.guru.net.uk, and the same goes for ns2. So what we need to do, we need to take this and we need to go back to our domain name. And here lower down, we will have a specific option called name servers. Right now, by default, is set to Namecheap Basic DNS. So this is the DNS where we manage all the settings. We can change this to custom. And when we change this to custom, this is basically where we need to add this name servers. So I'm going to copy this, paste it here, copy the second one, paste it here. Once you're finished, you click save. Once that's done, normally when it comes to DNS settings as well as name servers, it might take a few hours, it might take 24 hours or even 48 hours for these settings to actually apply and work properly everywhere. So do give it a bit of time because it's not going to work straight away. Here's the techie part of this. It might be a bit more complicated to understand, so please bear with me. I'll do my best to explain it as easy as possible. So by setting the name servers, what we're doing, we are putting our hosting provider in charge of all the DNS settings. So our hosting provider will be the new traffic controller or manager, however you want to call it, who decides through those DNS settings who's in charge of your emails, who's in charge of specific domains and subdomain settings, and all other DNS relevant settings. However, if you do that, you have to bear in mind that all the current settings we've done on Namecheap, specifically the ones in our last video about the emails, they won't apply anymore, so we will have to redo them. So assuming you want to go ahead with this option, you're going to click accept. As I mentioned earlier, it will take a few good hours for this to apply properly. And then if we go back to our hosting package, so we click on our services, we click on active, and from here we click on login to cPanel. You'll have the same option in Siteground. Once we're in the cPanel, if we scroll down a little bit, we'll have a section called Dns Zone Editor. So if we click on this section and if we click on manage, these are all the different DNS, pre-made DNS settings relevant to this specific domain. However, they will only apply once we put Guru in charge, or Siteground in your scenario, once we put Guru or Siteground in charge through our name servers. So these ones over here in the advanced settings will stop working, and straight away these new ones will start working. And as you can see here, we have some MX records, and these are the ones in charge of your emails. Now we'll have to delete this should we want to continue to use Gmail, and redo these settings again to point towards Gmail. So this is the first option. However, I did mention earlier that I have a second option which I actually prefer it more. And the reason for that is sometimes you might have a lot of settings made in your current provider. So in this case, we have done these settings for our email here, and I really don't want to redo them again. So if we go back to Guru, if this specific setting is in charge of IP address, can't we just add this setting to Namecheap? Well, guess what? We can. So that's the second way of how you can connect your domain name to your hosting. So the first option was to using your name servers. Once again, if I go back to the domain name, you have the name servers option here. And the second option is by adding directly a DNS settings, a type A DNS setting, same as here, where basically we're telling our domain name to which IP address should it respond. It's as simple as that. So in this case, we don't really need to find out what our name servers are. What we do need to find out instead, what is our IP address for our hosting. Again, Guru or Siteground, or perhaps if you're using anything else. So I can see that the IP address is this one. Or the other thing is you can actually go into your homepage of your cPanel. Normally you can see it on the right hand side. So we would copy this. We would go back to Namecheap Advanced DNS. And this is where we type add new record, choose the A record type, the host, we choose the @ sign, and this is where we type the IP address and we click save changes. The other thing we want to do, we want to delete the default records, which was these two. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. The reason we're deleting this because they might actually conflict with our new settings. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this one as well. And now the last thing you want to do is a few years back, using a domain name with www at the end was quite a popular option. Now that's not the case anymore. So if you have yourbusinessname.com, you don't really need to have www.yourbusinessname.com. However, it is good to set a redirection. So if someone does type, so for example, if I type www.brilliant.digital and I press enter, you will see that actually automatically I was redirected to the version without www. So what we want to do, we want whenever someone types the www, we want them to redirect automatically to this option, right? I hope that makes sense. So in order to do that, based on the DNS settings, all we have to do is add a new record, and this type is going to be a CNAME record. Don't worry about what it means, just follow the steps. So in the host, we're going to type www, and the target, this is basically where we want people to be redirected. And in this case, is going to be our main domain without the beginning part, without the www. So we copy that, paste it here, and then save changes again. So that's pretty much it. This was the boring part of this video. You do need to do this in order for your domain and your hosting actually to work together. So once you've done these settings, perhaps you want to take a break for a few hours until the new settings have applied and they work everywhere. So how do you know if the settings have been applied? Well, you can just take your domain name and open it in a new browser, and you can see right now it's still pointing to Namecheap, the default page. So if you would see something to do with your new hosting, so that'll be Siteground or Guru, that's when you know that the change has been made. The other option is to go on Google and type DNS Propagation Check, right? And normally you would go to the first option, DNS Checker. And this is where you would type the domain name, leave the A by default as it is, and type search. As soon as you've done that, here you would see your new IP address. So you should see the IP address of your new hosting. In our case, that was Guru. If you're seeing the old IP address, for example, as I'm seeing here, because this test is done from different locations, and sometimes while you're doing these changes, it might be the case that half of the world is going to already respond to the new hosting, while half is going to respond to the old one. Right, so that's why when you're doing this kind of settings, it takes a few good hours to apply everywhere.
A few moments later.
Right, so fast forward a few minutes or hours in your case, depending how long it took. Now I'm going to try to open the same page again. So you can see now it says something with Namecheap, but if I refresh, the page name is completely different because this specific page, 404 not found, it's actually a page on the Guru site. Or in your case, if you're using Siteground, you might see something else to do with Siteground. You're ready to build your website and so on. That's when we know that your domain name has started responding for this specific IP address, and now your new web hosting package is ready to be used. So now we can go ahead and install our WordPress website. What we're going to do now is go back to our cPanel, whether you're using Guru or SiteGround. Once you're here, what you want to do is find a section which is called software, or specifically what you might want to do is find the icon that says WordPress. The cPanel itself looks very, very similar with other hosting companies. So like I said, if you're using SiteGround, it might look the same. However, certain options inside, they might be in different places. If I remember correctly, with SiteGround, you will actually see somewhere a WordPress icon that you can click. By looking at this, I can't really see it, but I know that WordPress is related to the software. I'm going to go to all Guru apps. So once I've clicked here, you can see WordPress here. And from here, you can also install some other platforms, Joomla, Drupal, and so on. So I'm going to click on WordPress. Once again, with SiteGround, you might have the WordPress icon directly on the cPanel dashboard. All you have to do is just click on it. And once you've done, you're going to land on a page similar to this. From here, on the right-hand side, we want to click on Install this application. This is where we want to choose our domain name. I don't really like using the www version. So instead, what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this and I'm going to use the version without. So this one. So I've clicked on that directory. You don't need to use that. WordPress version 5.4, the latest one. That's perfect. So we can scroll down and go to the admin username option. I would advise against using something random like this because you might forget. But in the same time, don't use something as straightforward as admin because everyone knows admin is kind of like the default username. And you might try to use that to break into your website. So what I would probably suggest is try to stick something relevant to yourself or maybe your website, your business name. So I could probably just use Alex here, or I can use Brilliant Videos. Okay, I'm happy with Brilliant Videos. Admin password. So this is a default one generated. So I'm going to click Show Password. Again, you can change it, but what I tend to do, I like to have a user-generated password and just copy this. Administrator email, again, just double check that your email is correct. This is where you can change the website title, so this is where you would add your business name. So if you have a tagline, this is where you would add your tagline. Limit logging attempts. I quite like this plugin. So this is a plugin where if someone types in the password wrong 2-3 times, the system is going to log them out. Again, just to prevent hackers. This is good. Enable multi-site. You don't need that. Install WooCommerce. You don't need that. In advanced, again, the best thing is just to leave it as it is. And once you're done, we click on install. And as you can see, the website is now installing. It's copying all the behind the scene databases and stuff like that. Now it's actually a lot easier. When I started using WordPress, we had to do all this manually. We literally had to go to the WordPress.org website, download the package, use the FTP to upload the package, create a database. So the process was a little bit more complex, but now using these kind of apps, it's a lot easier to install. So as you can see here now, our website, our WordPress website was installed. So all we have to do is click on this link here. We're going to open a new tab And there you go. This is our WordPress website. And if you want to log in into the admin area to actually manage your WordPress website, you would, number one, use your login details that we've created previously in the setup process. And we will use the second link, which has the /wp-admin. So we would click on that. And because we're accessing the website, the admin area from inside the setup page is going to log us in automatically. However, that's not always the case. So if I'm going to log out, and if I go back to the website now, so if I type a dn-wp-admin, press enter, you will see that I will have to log in. So now I have to type in the details that I've previously set. So the admin was Brilliant Videos, and the password I've copy pasted, and click login, and this is the admin area. Right, so that's pretty much it. The WordPress software is now installed, so you can use that to start building your blog or your website. Now, this wasn't meant to be a full WordPress tutorial because that will probably take me hours. If you do want to learn more about that, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll think about putting a tutorial together on how to build a simple website. This is the last part of this video series, so just a recap of all the videos I've showed you so far: how to purchase a domain name, how to purchase and set up your hosting, how to create a business email address and add aliases, and the last one, how to set up WordPress on your hosting so you can start building your website. I hope you enjoyed this video series. If you did, please support my channel by hitting that like button and subscribe to be notified when we release more videos. I'm Alex, have a great day, and I'll see you in our next video.